Welcome back to the show, the Basic As Cooking Show. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple chicken and rice, really chicken mushrooms on top of rice dish. So I am just using up stuff that needs to be used up from my refrigerator. So I have some chicken that I have opened in the sink behind me. And I have some mushrooms. These are from Whole Foods. They're on sale. I don't know if you can tell, but they are a little bit wilty. So I got to eat these today. So we have chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breast. If you have thigh, do that. If you have bone-in chicken, you can use that. You have to cook it longer, but feel free to just use this as inspiration and not like an exact thing you can follow. So I'm also going to have my chicken and mushroom dish over some rice. This is some plain old jasmine rice, this giant bag of rice that I bought last year probably. And then I have some ingredients that I have too much of that I'm going to use for another recipe. So for another recipe that will be coming up, I bought some crème fraîche. The recipe only calls for like a little bit of this stuff, but this is very expensive. This tub on sale was still, I think, $5.49. So I'm going to use it in this recipe. If you don't have this, you can use a splash of cream. You can use some sour cream. You can use some unflavored Greek yogurt. So something that's basically thick, white, creamy. Boom, you got it. And not flavored. And then for the herbs, you just use whatever you have. So again, these herbs are also for this other recipe that I'm going to do, but it's too much. So I'm going to use this cilantro and green onions. And then I have some garlic. And I'm going to have some butter, salt, and pepper. So that's what we got going on today on the show. So the first thing that I've done, I've already went ahead and started my water to boiling for the rice, and because the chicken will come together really quickly. So you can just have the rice kind of on standby, honestly. And just cook the rice however you want. I don't have a rice cooker, so I just cook the rice the regular way. So I am cooking a half of a cup of rice. And this will be enough probably for 2 generous servings. So the first thing I'm going to do, put the rice in a bowl. I'm going to rinse it and then soak it while the water comes to a boil. So here I have my rice that I have rinsed twice, and now it's soaking until the water comes to a boil. You can soak it for longer than that if you have time. As usual, in a little bit of a rush. So I'm just going to soak it until the water comes to a boil. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the herbs that I will use in the recipe. So for this, I'm going to use my little mini chopper. I will try to remember to link it down below for you. This is a really over 10 years old probably version of it, but I will find the new version and link it down below for you. So I'm going to use the cilantro and the green onion. And like I said, this is just a good method. It's not really a recipe, but just a method of using up ingredients when you only need 1 green onion. If your store doesn't sell 1 green onion, which a lot don't, you can just try to use it up as best you can. So these feel a little bit dirty. I'm going to rinse these off. So what I'm basically trying to do is make kind of like a little herby situation to cook my chicken and mushrooms in. So you can save some of the green parts for the top to make your dish pretty. Let me do that actually. So these green parts, I will save and chop them up a little bit finer before I put them on top of the dish at the end. Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. You know I will. All right, so we have our green onions. So I'm gonna put this in here. And you can also chop it by hand. I want this to be finely chopped, so I'm just putting it in the little mechanical chopper. Next we have our cilantro. And I think my recipe called for parsley, and I don't remember if cilantro and parsley is the same thing. So I'm gonna do my best. I do remember though that parsley, it smells very fragrant and it packs a punch. So I'm just gonna use a little bit, like this amount. Perfect, so I rinsed it off. It was a little bit dirty, and I'm just rough chopping everything to make it a little easier on my chopper. My chopper is, you know, she's getting up there in age. She probably needs a new blade, honestly. So I'm just trying to help her out. And I love the smell of cilantro. Please use whatever you have. So now we have our herbs. I'm excited to have like an herby chicken mushroom situation going on too. So I plan to use these tomorrow, so I'm just like lightly packing them back in the bag. Moving on to the garlic. So I'm going to add some garlic. So I really enjoy garlic a lot. I'm a little tempted to just use all the rest of this. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this bit of the garlic has a lot of these tiny, tiny little cloves, which are the bane of my actual existence. So I'm just gonna use these all up. So if you pop them with the knife, then it's a little easier to get them out. But you just use as much garlic as you like. I really rock with garlic, but I would say a normal person, you can maybe use 3 cloves of garlic. I forgot to mention that I will add a little bit of olive oil just to help my herbs start to be processed. That was only like a teaspoon. That's like such a small amount. So now I'm going to chop all the herbs. And you may need to stop it and scrape things down, and also pull out the rogue garlic garlic peel. Smells very good. Okay. So just chopped up a little bit, and that's what we have. Smells fantastic. So now I'm gonna put my rice into the pot to start to boil and move to the stove. Now we're over here at the stove, and I'm going to just salt the water. So I cook my rice kind of like I cook pasta. I've yet to master the absorption method for rice. If you have, then please do it that way. If you are a beginner and just need to cook rice, you can just cook it like pasta. I learned that, I think, from Rachel Ray. Don't quote me on that though. And it still tastes like rice. So I am putting my rice in here. And then I just mix it around a little bit. So if you're cooking it like pasta, that just means to cook it in a bunch of water and then drain the water off at the end. And it still will be tasty. Moving over here, I'm gonna use this pretty pan because I'm making a YouTube video. But honestly, this pan is the bane of my existence. This is my beautiful Le Creuset pan, and this is the top. And even though this thing is beautiful, it is really hard to clean. So I'm only using it to impress you guys. So please make sure to like and subscribe and stuff because you're so impressed. I am sure of it. So I'm going to put about a medium heat under this pan. So this pan is great, but the thing about really well-made pans is that they hold heat very, very easily. So with this, you want to just do like maybe a little medium, almost between medium and high. Because since the pan is a good pan and it will hold the heat, it's a little harder to cool it down. So before I move to the chicken and get my board all full of chicken, I'm just chopping up my green onions from before. Thank you for reminding me. You're the best. I'm just doing it this way so I don't have to clean this board or pull out another board. So this is my green onion for the top. So for my 2 chicken breasts, I am going to cut them like this in half so they cook faster. I'm trying to kind of have this done or close to done when the rice is finished. So just cut them. It's okay if they're not perfectly in half. The world will continue to spin. So I basically have like 2 small pieces and 2 bigger pieces. So now I'm going to season them up. All right, so I've washed my hands and now I am going to just lightly season and try to season from up high. The other day, I accidentally over-seasoned my chicken and it was horrible. I made myself eat it because I didn't want to waste the food and the money. But it was a terrible experience. Forcing myself to eat the chicken. So I'm seasoning it with salt and pepper. And just season to taste. If you have a stronger palate than I do, then by all means. All right. So my stove in the entire apartment is slanted that way. Like everything is slanted that way, not just the stove. So I'm just moving around my oil a little bit and it's starting to smoke. It's a little too hot, but we're gonna do this anyway. So I put the seasoned side down. Try to fit your chicken in the pan a little bit better than I did. And now I'm just seasoning the other side. Over here, I'm just kind of gently moving my rice around just to make sure that none of it is sticking. So I'm going to let the chicken cook until it is done and then I will be back. So now we're back and the rice, as you can see, is done. The chicken is also done. So I've kept the pan that the chicken came out of. I have removed the chicken and I have put in some water just to deglaze it a little bit. You can also use chicken stock if you have chicken stock. And I'm gonna just turn down the fire a little bit for right now. So you can leave the chicken, all these little chicken bits and such, you can leave it there. Also, if you have a pan like this, I think this is a ceramic coated pan, you can definitely deglaze it with water while it's hot and that makes it a little bit easier to clean out. I have learned this recently. While I have the liquid in here, you can also use chicken stock. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I have my liquid in here and it's still warm. So I am going to, first I'm actually going to add the mushrooms. And this part you need to work a teeny bit quickly. So for my mushrooms, I'm going to leave them sliced like this. You can cut them up some more if you want. And I'm gonna hold off seasoning them for just a few moments. So I'm just kind of moving them around in my makeshift chicken stock. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper. And you can always add more salt or whatever, but it is much harder to take it away, trust me. So here's my salt and my pepper. And just gonna mix it around. No matter what you use, it'll start to get a little bit thickened. And with this, you will just cook the mushrooms to your desired consistency. Now I'm going to add my herb mixture. And I don't recall if I mentioned or not, but if you don't have green onion, just use white onion, yellow onion, shallot, whatever. But whatever you use, it needs to be chopped up kind of finely. So I'm going to mix this in. This is going to be really pretty. Really excited about this. So on medium heat, I'm going to add a teeny bit of water to this just to rinse this out a little bit. And also this will add a little bit more liquid because you need this to be a little bit like a sauce. So you can just kind of estimate how much water you need. So I'm going to leave this on at about medium high. And I'm going to put my lid on top. Oh, I forgot my butter. So here's my butter. I forgot the butter. The butter will add a little bit of richness and body, as the chefs call it. So this, I'm going to just add half. So 2 tablespoons of butter. You don't need to add the butter, but you can add it if you want to. The world is ending, kinda. You may as well just eat a little bit of butter, am I right? So now I'm gonna put my lid on top, and what do I wanna do? I'm just gonna slightly ajar so it can steam a little bit, but also release some of the steam a little bit. So I will be back in about 5 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes. I had enough time to check my text messages. And this is how our sauce is looking. It smells fantastic, you guys. Like, so fantastic. So I'm going to turn down the heat to a little bit less than medium. And you can see that it's a little runny, but the sauce has reduced. So now what we're going to do is get it to a kind of a little bit thicker consistency and a little creamy with that crème fraîche. So if you've never had crème fraîche before, this is honestly the only brand I've ever found in any store. I don't know if other brands make this stuff even. But this is like, it's kind of like thicker sour cream. So it's a little bit tart, maybe not as tart as sour cream, and a little thicker in consistency. So I will try to show you what it looks like. This stuff is also really good on toast. So if you're American and you've ever been to London or, you know, in the UK somewhere and had clotted cream, you can see this is kind of like a similar consistency to clotted cream. Clotted cream is a little harder to find in the US, and it is very expensive when I have found it. But this is a nice little substitute for clotted cream if you know, like if you need some and you're in the US. So I'm going to take like about a heaping tablespoon. This is a teaspoon, so I'm just taking about a, you know, tablespoon-ish amount. You don't need a lot, I don't think. because you're just, you're just trying to like make it a little bit creamy. But honestly, use as much as you want. So now we stir it in. And at this point, after I get it stirred in, I'm gonna taste this sauce. If you're doing low carb, you can have this sauce and the chicken over some broccoli. That would be very nice. Or just the chicken and the sauce. So let me taste it. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I can't believe this, but I'm totally good with this as is. And now I'm going to just nestle my chicken back in here. So my chicken is done. I'm just going to reheat it a little bit. This one fell apart, being a hater. All right, so while I get my plate and stuff ready, very happy with this, by the way, I'm going to just put the lid back on and turn the fire off. And just let it steam back up and get ready to plate. All right, so I'm gonna put down my little coaster things here and bring the food over. So I have my rice. It's honestly a teeny bit, it's not as hot as I want it to be, but that's okay. And then if you're making this for, your friends or whatever, you have a nice pot, this is the perfect time to bring out your nice pot. I don't have super beautiful dishes though, so I'm just gonna use what I have. So for our serving, we're gonna have our rice. You can also fluff your rice with a fork, but actually I was wrong. Look at this, this rice is totally still warm. So I'm gonna serve myself a nice portion of rice. This is, like I said, I would say 2 generous servings. Actually, I'll just get another spoon for the chicken. So for today, I am going to choose, actually, let me choose this big piece because I'm making a YouTube video. So I have my piece of chicken and then my mushroom sauce. I'm going to put it on top. So I think that'll look prettier. That's very pretty. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And then, oh my goodness, y'all, I did all of that and you couldn't see. Well, this is what I did. I put the chicken on the left side and then the rice on the right. Let me move the camera. My bad. I thought you could see. And then I have my green onions here. So what if we just add a few little sprinkles? And then just a few on the rice. Okay. We're getting a little overzealous. There we go. There we go. Perfect, kinda. So I hope you enjoyed this adventure of making this chicken and mushroom rice. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.